The following is the transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 29th June, 2021. Transmutation. Me. When talking about what society means, quality of following, the word consequent arises, something that defines those who act with coherence. I am. Who performs his actions in a consequent sequence associated with a social follow-up. Me. Good pun. I am. Thank you. Me. So we could say that societies today are not coherent. I am. To be consistent with actions is to maintain a linearity of thought and action. Someone consistent manifests in reality what he promulgates from the beginning. If throughout your life what you say changes completely according to the winds of the moment, then you will not be consistent because you do not follow your goals. Me. But I don't understand something. One of the things we said was that it is necessary to adapt, to change according to the times, to allow oneself to modify in relation to the environment, which is a key to evolution. So why are you now telling me that it is necessary to be consistent over time and not change with the winds? I am. You humans take too much pleasure in polar determinisms, don't you? Me. How? I am. That you are bipolar by nature and it seems to give you pleasure, to oscillate between extremes. The universe is relativistic, not determinative. There will never be an absolute truth. I return to what I said. Conscience is not moral. Morality is deterministic. It says one thing and applies it in such a way regardless of the context, while consciousness takes the tools of the context to fulfill its purpose. Let's give graphic examples of this. Me. Yes, please. I am. Imagine that you live in Argentina and you have to travel to Cairo. Me. Well, that's not a lot of imagination there. It's almost real. I am. You actually live in Cairo and you would travel to Argentina. Me. It's true. I am. In any case, imagine that to travel from one place to another, you consider that the most handy tool you have to get from one place to another is a boat. Then your morale will be shaped like a ship, and you will say, I will only arrive at my destination by boat. There is no other way. You deny the possibility of other ways, be it car, plane, on foot, or the most logical, take all transports. But your morality forbids it, for it is shaped like a ship. Now you have a headwind and you can't move forward. Or there are adverse currents and the ship is moved to an opposite place. Context prevents you from using your morals. Then you are left with a choice. Me. Discern. I am. That's right. Discerning between the best ways. That is called grouping various options to discern between them, something you call consciousness. Consciousness allows you to decide if you want to leave the ship and get on a plane, or travel by car or bicycle to a more optimal port by the Atlantic. Consciousness can also tell you, if you want to continue in the boat, at least learn to use the currents of the moment, the winds in your favor, because going against all those forces will not allow you to advance. But perhaps if you use the currents wisely, you will arrive faster, even if it seems a farther path. Me. Sure, I understand. I am. The means of transport, the method you use is your morale, but context can change. There may be unexpected stopovers. The climate may change. Currents may change. Passengers and colleagues may be different. And if you are fixed in your morals, you will never be able to adapt to changes. Now, there is something that has not changed. Me. What? I am. The purpose, the idea, the essence of why you came out in the first place. When we talk about modifying, mutating, adapting to the innovative, to the interaction with different visions, we do not mean losing the internal north, losing the essence. There are hundreds of species of cats, also tigers, lions, cheetahs, and so many others, but they are all still felines. The essence is the feline, although travel has transformed them. Adaptation to the environment is fundamental, which does not mean losing oneself. The primordial destiny is inside, and finding oneself is what allows us not to get lost in the thousands of mutant forms of the environment. Me. That is to say that there is an inevitable need to mutate, adapt to the context of time and space in order to continue existing, but maintaining internal coherence, one's own north. I am. Like on that journey where 1,000 things can happen in the middle that will force you to have to adapt, but you know where you're going and you move forward to get there in the same way. Me, as it happened to me in everything in life, and even more so with the yosoypath, in which the content is the same, but the forms mutated 100%. I am. The whole process of moving towards a destination, allowing yourself to adapt along the way, is what we know as transmuting. Me. I have heard this concept a lot, when in therapies they talk about transmuting links, emotions, thoughts, beliefs. How do you transmute something? I am. The word trans means on the other side, moving somewhere else. It usually accompanies a verb to define the direction in which it is carried out. Transform, transmit, transcribe, transcend, disrupt, transfusion, transgress, and of course transmute. That is, modify beyond, to something else later. This concept refers to the fact that when a mutation takes you to another level, to another place different from the one where you were previously. Me. So I can mutate but stay in the same place, or transmute, which would be to change the environment. I am. In short, that's a simple understanding of what both concepts mean. For example, a person who considers himself weak, fearful, inferior to others, disempowered and prone to depression, may psychologically choose to mutate to find these attributes in a different way, such as changing his clothes, the colors he wears, starting to wear stronger colors, or even dyeing his hair colors like red or pink, colors that give security, strength, power. But this mutation is almost like the camouflage of an insect, a bird, or an easy prey, which is dyed in strong colors, pretending something it is not, mutating only to defend itself in the environment it lives, although its nature remains the same, of weakness and victim. Me. What would it be like for that person to transmute? I am. First, go to the root, the cause of your weakness, perhaps projected onto one of your parents or someone who abused this person in the family, school, either verbally, physically, psychologically, or emotionally. You must recognize the root of this emotional state and realize that this context is different. She recognizes who the focuses of her projections are, identifies the spaces in which she feels subjected, and from this, she considers what new spaces she would need to travel, what links she needs to transform. Thus, she takes the reins, and instead of disguising herself in the same environment, she decides to get out of it. Honoring her history, she decides to change her environment, move from it, change her links, recognizing the previous ones. She physically positions herself in a new place, observing her life from a transcendental point of view, and therefore has transmuted. It is not a camouflage, it is a new being, an improved version, with awareness of what has happened and why it is the way it is. She changes her morality, decides to adapt to new currents, not denying the previous one, but taking it as learning. Me. So transmuting is not so easy because it requires getting out of the place we are in, moving to places never visited before, and interacting with people never considered before. I am. Learning new tools, new arts for life. Me. I have transmuted, I am sure of that. I recognize myself very different from what I was before, and I have changed many spaces, many relationships of all kinds. I learned, I kept going, I never backed down. I recognize myself as a transmuter. I am. Your task is also to be a planetary transmuter, and therefore your presence stirs the lives of others, giving them intense jolts in a short time to modify their lives. Me. Sometimes I have found that it has been painful for many. I am. Transmuting hurts when one is clinging to a morality, to a place and way of doing and seeing things. There are people accustomed to transmutation, but most cannot deal with real changes. Me. I was once criticized for causing divorces. They said that what I was doing was breaking up families. I am. Or reposition pieces that were already broken. Me. Yes, I mean I didn't do anything, just that the energetic tasks we did were so intense that many individuals realized that they lived oppressed in their potentials and that their families, their relationships, did nothing but delay the process of being who they really were, so they separated. I am. Separation, divorce, is another form of transmutation. The rupture of emotional family ties does not break the bonds we have with others, but transforms them to allow freedom of being. Morality tells us that when you find a point of stability, you have to hold on to it for fear of not getting another one later. But the beginning of instability is the principle of flexibility. It is the key that has allowed everything to advance, migrate, evolve. If we had clung to what we took for granted in the beginning of humanity, we would still be living in caves. Me. You have to be encouraged to change. I am. To take the leap. Jump into the abyss, into the void of insecurity that gives us opportunities. The universe never leaves anything to chance. All the particles, the parts, find their place when they allow themselves to fall, move. Transmutation implies the transmigration of the body, emotions, and thoughts, the ability to change the point of view, something impossible to do while always in the same place. Changing space, home, traveling, moving, doing a new activity, surrounding yourself with new people, visiting new places, encouraging yourself to stop talking to someone, to talk to someone new, taking the step with courage to accept loneliness, transcending a relationship that does not bear fruit to being, allowing yourself to feel the freedom of action. All this is transmuting. Me. It is not to stay only with the spiritual concept of transmuting an emotion or belief, because I have seen that there is talk of transmuting relationships and emotions only with therapies. I am. Therapy is like calling a technician to fix the wiring in your house and hoping that only with the new wires your house will be more tidy, bright, and you will feel happy. No. The new cables only enable you to have better energy flow, so you can buy new lights, put more clarity, perform a good feng shui, and live the day-to-day from a different perspective. Me. Sure. Therapy does not make us transmute. It only gives us tools for us to do so. I am. It's a question of attitude, the ability to act. You live in the third dimension, therefore you must be consistent with it. Me. What about the idea that we will shortly transmute to the fifth dimension? I am. Some will, yes. Me. Some? I am. Those who are able to live it. As an example, we could take that the 5D is like living in the Bolivian and Peruvian Altiplano, at an average of 4,000 meters high, or in the Tibet Massif with an average of 5,000 meters high. And we will take the 3D as an average of 100 meters high. That is, people who live on the coasts, on the beaches, and on the plains. If you want to go to the 5D, you will have to prepare your physique, your diet, your exercise, your breathing. Everest will not come to Cancun Beach to change your life while sipping a mojito in the sun on the beach. Me. I understand. I am. Most likely. Whoever is sitting meditating on the beach looking at the sea, breathing large amounts of oxygen, if he suddenly appears on Everest, will die for lack of red blood cells that process low oxygen as well as low atmospheric pressure, temperatures below zero, and arterial and brain pressure that occurs at high altitudes. It can cause micro heart attacks, lung failures, all if you do not know how to breathe, if you have not adapted to this transmutation progressively. If your muscles have not been prepared for the gravitational pressure of high altitudes, your muscles will atrophy, and there will not be a lot of blood or oxygen to nourish them, causing stroke, cramps, and nausea. Me. Wow, going to the 5D hurts. I am. It hurts if you've been all your life on the beach scratching your navel meditating the Om without knowing what it means, begging for someone, an alien or ascended master, to throw Everest at you in the Caribbean. Me. Very graphic. I am. Therefore, 60% of the world's population lives below 1,500 meters above sea level, that is, between level 0 of any beach in the world to a territory of 1,500 meters, such as the Nevada desert in the United States. Within this 60%, only 10% live between 1,000 and 1,500 meters, with which 50% of the world's population lives below 1,000 meters high, 1 kilometer of altitude. Today, the Burj Khalifa building in the United Arab Emirates is the tallest building in the world, at 828 meters high, although soon a new building will take the place of the tallest in Dubai, with 1,300 meters high. That is, this can give you an idea that half of the human population could live on the floors of this building, and you would know how high we normally reach. The other 40% is distributed between 1,500 and 3,000 meters high, of which 22% live between Peru and Bolivia, and 17% in Africa, being 0.3% in Asia. This leaves us crumbs of a few thousand living above 4,000 meters high. Me. It's a good example to understand why only a few perceive 5D. I am. And that the transmutation is not from 5D to 3D, but from 3D to 5D. That is, if you want to live 5D, you must climb the mountain, not wait for the mountain to come to you. Me. If the mountain doesn't go to Muhammad, Muhammad will go to the mountain. No? Although sometimes I have heard it backwards. I am. Said backwards, it is simply a joke of words that doesn't make sense. Francis Bacon, by the year 1597, wrote in his book Essays on Morals and Politics this phrase that became popular. It tries to reflect the will to take the initiative for oneself to achieve the goals we seek in life. The mountain will not come to us, that is, things will not reach our garden no matter how much we ask for them. It is necessary to move, perform actions, be resourceful, look for the mountain, go beyond. There is truly the glory of the prophet, of the one who carries the message, of the one who seeks the truth. Me, as I was once told, turn hope into responsibility. Stop waiting for the 5D, the new to come into our lives, and go out and look for it, and if I don't find it, create it for myself. I am. Therefore, living in 3D, it is necessary to be realistic and recognize that for everything there is a process, and that in this process we are required to adapt to the environment, to open ourselves to change places, to leave the comfort zone, to face what bothers us, to transform our relationships, to jump into the void, to learn new things, to relate to new and different people, to nourish myself from unexpected experiences, to see in each crisis an opportunity. Me. Transmuting. It's clearly not a simple idea. I am. It's an attitude. The attitude of being oneself, allowing oneself to be the whole. Me. This is how I honor the month of Gemini, which has taught me to transmute what I am, learning from what I can be, to be curious to know the world, to understand myself coherent in duality, expanding my relationships and friendships to nourish myself from existence. I am. Everything that manifests you. Me. I am a product of the eternal. I am. Transmutation of the mundane and the divine. Mahasa.